So, convicted felon Donald Trump gave a speech in Arizona today. He made a stop in the swing state to speak at this conservative event called Turning Point USA. Essentially, this is a gathering of a bunch of MAGA lunatics to talk about how great Donald Trump is. And there was so much excitement among the MAGA cult, the MAGA faithful. But this event quickly became a disaster because not only was Donald Trump's speech just really bad, he was kind of getting confused and lost during his speech. He was sweating a lot. He was spreading his usual conspiracy theories, not talking about policy. But even before the event, before Donald Trump even took the stage, things were going wrong. So we're going to talk about all of this, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. But another complete failure from the Trump campaign. So things were already going wrong for Donald Trump outside of the event because the Democrats came prepared. They're always 2 steps ahead of Donald Trump, so they made some preparations and they bought some billboards outside of the event hall that Donald Trump was speaking at, and you can see one on your screen right now. It says, "Trump already attacked Arizona's democracy once. Now he's back as a convicted felon. He's out for revenge and retribution. Trump unfit to serve." And this was paid for by the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. They came prepared. They're letting voters know who Donald Trump is, that he's a convicted felon. Trump won't tell these people. Trump won't say that in his speech. He won't go near the topic. He doesn't want to talk about it because your average American, your logical person out there doesn't want a criminal in the Oval Office, which is what you get with Donald Trump. But the Democrats aren't just going to sit back and let him do it. No, they're on the offensive now. They're letting people know, even Donald Trump's supporters, that Trump is a convicted felon and that's who he is. And that's the baggage he brings to the office. And they're trying to reach every voter. And this is especially true because they put up another billboard saying the same thing, but this time exclusively in Spanish. Reaching Spanish voters out there, people who don't speak English. They're really trying to get every vote for President Biden's campaign, which is smart campaigning and just a generally good thing to do, keeping everybody informed who lives in the country. I love it. And I also love how the billboard talked about Donald Trump's attack on Arizona's democracy, America's democracy. Back in 2020, he tried to subvert the will of not only people around the country, but people specifically in Arizona. He sent false electors to the state so that those votes, his votes, would be counted, but not anybody else's, specifically Joe Biden, who won the state of Arizona in 2020. So he tried to ignore their voice, and now he's back asking for their vote again. He's a convicted felon now asking for their vote. He tried to subvert their voices, ignore their votes, and now he wants them to support him. Give me a break. But the Democrats are not just going to sit back idly and watch it happen. They're making some moves, and they're letting people know, even at Donald Trump's own events, that he is a convicted felon and he's not to be trusted. But really, from this moment onward, things just continue to go downhill for Donald Trump and his campaign because, look, this is Arizona. It's the summertime. It gets pretty hot. Apparently it was around 110 degrees at 2 p.m., which is when Donald Trump was speaking. And this was taking a toll on his fans, his supporters who were outside waiting for him to speak. They were lining up. And I genuinely say this as a sad thing. This is incredibly unfortunate, but people were starting to suffer. Their health was starting to deteriorate. So I have some reporting for you from a couple of different sources. But first and foremost, Ben Brown, who was on the site of Donald Trump's speech, and he caught a video. And the caption was on social media, another one being carted out on a stretcher at Trump's rally. This marks at least 6 people from what we can likely assume is the heat. And we have some follow-up reporting from The Hill saying 11 people were sent to the hospital for heat exhaustion outside of Donald Trump's event. And there's some other reporting that number reached as much as 50 people who had to go to the hospital for some heat exhaustion because they're out in the 110-degree heat. It's Arizona. The Donald Trump campaign is not giving them any resources, not giving them any water as they wait. They're just kind of out there fending for themselves. And naturally, some people are suffering. Some older senior folks are now going to the hospital because they were passing out due to heat. Genuinely, I say that it's incredibly unfortunate. I hope that those people are okay. But it really shows you that Donald Trump couldn't care less about his supporters. Couldn't care less. He wants their money and their vote. Nothing further, nothing more. Doesn't care about their well-being. Doesn't care about making their lives better. Certainly doesn't care about their health as they're waiting for his event. And look, naturally, I think we're all thinking like, look, if you're speaking in the swing state of Arizona in the summertime, why are you doing it at 2 p.m.? We have some reporting here from Midas Touch talking about this. Why are you talking to these folks in 110-degree weather at 2 p.m. in Arizona during the summertime? Well, we know why. Because number one, as we mentioned, Donald Trump couldn't care less about his supporters, but he couldn't go later in the evening because he had a ritzy fundraiser taking place in San Francisco this evening with a billionaire, David Sachs, where every person getting in costs $300,000. That's what Donald Trump is doing tonight. He's having a fundraiser, so all these people have to suffer. He gives a speech at 2 p.m. in Arizona, won't push it later to make sure that people are okay, won't give out resources. Instead, he's having this speech in the middle of the afternoon, having all of these people pass out so he can go to San Francisco tonight and make a bunch of cash for his campaign. What a disgrace. I mean, do you need any more evidence that Donald Trump couldn't care less about anybody, not even his supporters? This guy's a narcissist. He cares about his campaign, his money, keeping himself out of jail. Nothing more, though. That's it. So just for everybody that's keeping track at home, we have billboards outside of the event labeling Donald Trump as a convicted felon. His supporters are passing out due to the heat. And then eventually, Donald Trump took the stage. And as I mentioned, his speech wasn't great. So here's the first clip from the speech I want to show you of him ranting about the quote-unquote rigged system against him, but he kind of contradicts himself in this short clip I have for you. So take a look at it here.
No, it's never been, nobody's ever seen, because they know it was rigged. They know it's a corrupt system. They know all about it. But with your help, less than 5 months from now, and we're going, and I'll tell you what, we have to change the system. We have to straighten out what's going on in these courts. We got a rigged deal going, this whole country, and we've got to do it. And those appellate courts have to step up and straighten things out, or we're not going to have a country any longer.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but I'm kind of watching this clip of him speak, and he doesn't look too well. He kind of just looks very deflated, very tired, kind of looking defeated a little bit, seeming like a man who knows that he's not doing too good in the United States and people's minds. But first and foremost, his whole rigged conversation is just utter nonsense. Obviously, the trial against him wasn't rigged. It was a jury of his peers, 12 average New Yorkers, who found him guilty of 34 felony charges. They were picked by both the defense and Donald Trump's attorneys as well. They agreed on the jury. So his whole nonsense here is not only not true, but it's not landing with the American people. So many polls are showing us that the overwhelming majority of Americans think that the trial was fair, and the only people who say otherwise are Trump loyalists. So that's the first thing. But I also find it really funny how he just kind of contradicted himself. He's like, we have a rigged system going on here. The courts are so against me, but I'm going to need the appellate courts to step in and sort it all out. Is that possible? So which one is it? Are the courts rigged? Are they all against Donald Trump, or are they going to step in and help him out? What happens when the appellate court rules against him because he has no reason to object or reason to appeal the conviction against him or his civil fraud judgment? What happens then? Are they rigged as well? I mean, I think we're noticing a pattern here with Donald Trump where every single time something goes wrong, it's rigged. That's what he's saying right now, but he's also claiming that it's not rigged. He just can't make up his mind. And if it goes his way, he'll be perfectly happy. He'll say the court is great. If it doesn't go his way, then he'll slam them saying, oh, what a disaster. He's just such a lunatic, can't keep his story straight, and that's just an addition to this event. And look, I'm not going to subject you to too much Donald Trump in this video. We already see enough of him. It's better for our health if we don't see as much of him. So the last clip I want to show you is, as I mentioned, him getting a little confused during his rally, his speech, kind of getting lost on stage. So take a look at this short clip here.
When I'm president, I will use Title 42 to end the trial, and we have to do this.
Yeah, he's going to use Title 42 to end the trial. We have to do this? What is he talking about? I mean, this is just happening far too often with Donald Trump, where he kind of just like mid-sentence loses his train of thought, and then he like does this weird thing where he just quickly pivots. He's like, we're going to use Title 42 to end the, well, we have to do this. We have to do this. And he's like, what do we have to do? What are you talking about? You didn't say anything, right? He does this so often. And it's really becoming noticeable, Donald Trump's general decline, where he's doing this like every other sentence, kind of every speech he gives, he's getting a little confused and he looks a little lost. And overall, his points are just not coherent. He's not making an argument as to why he should be reelected. He's just saying, the courts are mean to me, the FBI is mean to me, the DOJ is mean to me, so you should reelect me. He's not saying like, hey, this is what I'm going to do on these issues. And he's also like slurring his words, as you just kind of saw right there. So that's Donald Trump's event. Didn't go to plan. You have billboards side slamming him. You have people passing out in the line. You have incoherent arguments coming from the candidate himself, convicted felon Donald Trump. It's just like, man, the Trump campaign is not in a good spot these days. They are not doing well. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that that happened today because Donald Trump will never talk about it. So I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. Also, drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Share the video with anybody you think needs to see it. And as always, I appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.